There is a world of difference between truth and facts. Facts can obscure the truth. Maya Angelou. Welcome to the Guyana Dialogue. I am your host, Shamiza Ali. Tonight we will have a discussion on the tragedy in Guyana with the MV Barima. The Guyana Dialogue is being sponsored by a coordinating council of Guyanese based in the US, UK, Canada, the Caribbean, and Guyana. Funding support is by well-known philanthropist Dave Narine from Dave West Indian Imports. Please welcome my moderator for tonight, Dr. Tara Singh.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Dr. Tara. Our panelist tonight is headmistress from Zeeburg Secondary School, Deborah Dawson Colthurst, and Dr. Vishnu Bisram will join us later on in the program. Good evening and welcome, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Tara, go ahead.
You're going to read that release, Shamiza?
Okay. Yeah.
Release from Canada.
Okay. Dr. Tara, just give me a moment. You can do an introduction in the meantime. If our guest would like to do an introduction of herself in the meantime.
Yeah, maybe our guest.
It's her first time on the panel.
Yes. Well, we welcome her, and it's a program we set up over 4 years ago. And Shamiza and her husband have been the technical people behind this. And we focus on really, we are not a talk show. We're really here to promote Guyana's development and talk about serious social issues, how they could be improved, the economic trust of the country, where it's going right, where it's not going too right, and these things, and whatever our views, we will send them to the respective authorities for further consideration. So we see ourselves as not only discussing issues, but trying to sift them out and send whatever we deem appropriate to the authorities so they can deliberate on that and take what are appropriate actions.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and read that and then we can continue. So the Association of Concerned Guyanese, ACG, wishes to express profound sorrow over the tragic capsizing of the MV Barima and extends condolences to the families and communities grieving this national loss. We stand in solidarity with Guyana as the country confronts one of its most painful maritime disasters in recent memory. We honor the bravery of Guyana's emergency responders, the Guyana Defense Force, the Guyana Police Force, marine fisher folk, and volunteers who continue to search and rescue efforts under dangerous conditions. Their service reflects the strength and compassion of the Guyanese people. The ACG condemns attempts by political actors to exploit this tragedy for partisan purposes. In this period of national mourning, misinformation and inflammatory commentary only deepen the suffering of affected families and undermine confidence in rescue operations. We support the government of Guyana's comprehensive investigation into the circumstances surrounding the disaster, including the inaccurate passenger manifest and positive drug tests among crew members. Accountability and strict adherence to maritime safety regulations are essential. The ACG remains committed to truth, unity, and the well-being of the Guyanese people as the nation continues to seek answers, healing, and justice.
Thank you very much. Would you like to give a little background on our guests?
Yeah.
Shamiza?
Deborah is the headmistress of Zeeburg Secondary School. She has been a teacher for over 30 years, and we are happy to have her join us here on Guyana Dialogue. Deborah,
Mm.
can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, sure, I would love to. Yes, my name is Deborah Dotson Cultures, and I am at Zeeburg for the past 2 years. From 2024, I got there, and it's not been an easy road, but it's been very rewarding. I am satisfied with the progress being made so far. I am the mother of three and the grandmother of three also. Three girls, I have three sons.
So, as a mom, Deborah, watching the recent tragedy, there were a lot of moms who lost their child, their children, child children. There was one mom who lost seven of her
Yeah,
children. I believe that was all the kids, right? And
yeah.
it is a very sad situation. How does it make you feel as a mom and as a grandma?
I don't even know if I can actually explain the nostalgic feelings, but I can emotionally identify how she feels because I would have had persons who were close to me lost their loved ones, and I know what it felt like to for a mother lose her child or children. And in that way, because I myself would have suffered loss of babies, I know what it feels like. Even though I didn't know the children much at the time, it hurt because you really get attached to that fetus. So I can imagine having them and seeing them grow, feeling their pains and everything, what that can feel like.
Yeah, it's and it's not. It's several moms who've seen the stories of them losing their children and having no other choice but to let it be, right? And it's a very sad thing. Dr. Tara, do we have any updates as to recent anything from our government as to what the next steps are in this?
Well, I just got a press release from the Prime Minister, which was issued about half hour ago, and they just give an update where we know that 77 survivors they saved and 72 bodies were recovered as of now, which bring the total to 72 and 77, 149. And based on the revised count, not the initial count of 133, but 179, it means that they still have to account for 30 more bodies. And it has been suggested most of these bodies might be trapped in the vessel below, which they are trying to bring to what is it, less deep water, and then they will move on to the other state to do the extraction of these bodies. Right now, there is no clear picture as to how many may be trapped in the vessel.
Was there an updated manifest or any updates as to an actual number from any crew members that was present or was found?
No, as I said, the 72 bodies were recovered so far
Right.
and 77 survivors. So the 30, the hope is that, or people are suggesting it may be trapped in the vessel. We don't know how many are children, how many are adults, male, female, or what. At this stage, we don't know.
Now, Dr. Tara, moving forward, what is your opinion about what can we do? Because we can't change what has happened already. What
Yeah,
is your
well,
suggestion?
that's correct. I mean, we can just, from these sad incidents, we can only try to learn our lessons, empathize with the people who have gone through it. Um, I don't know what you can tell somebody who has lost their child or their children. Um, you
Or their
know,
wife or husband?
yeah, the only thing you can hope is pray let ask God to give them guidance during this dark hours of their life. The no amount of condolence that we can send, it can take away that pain from them. I can imagine the pain is excruciating, unbearable, and but the Guyanese people are really supporting them. Um, they have a lot of people who are supporting this cause, plus the government Ministry of Social Security, Human Services, and Social Security. They have ongoing counseling and other support services, and they will do it as long as it's possible, a year or even more, because in the end, your wounds might be healed, but the scars will still remain. And so the and then from what I understand, the government is providing them with meals, transportation, funeral expense. Now, these boats are not covered by insurance, so the government will have to compensate them. And that is something they have to work out with the government, their lawyers, and themselves. But I'm confident the government will have to pay each family compensation. I mean, that will not ease their anguish and pain, but at least many of these people were traders, they were business people. So they have been thrown out of a job. They can't provide for their family, whoever remains.
Mhm.
So I think that will happen. I have no reservations about that.
Well, we should wait. I think over the last few days, we've seen many speculations. We've seen too many, this was not true, that was not. I think it's important at a time like this to say less, gather your facts, and then speak when you have enough facts to back up whatever you're going to say, because we've seen many things being said that was not true. So that we can probably take back, wait and see what happens. I think it's
Mm.
too early to look into that right now. It's a time for mourning for a lot of these families, and that's what we should be focused on.
Yeah, well,
Deborah, go ahead,
go ahead, go
officer.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Deborah, being in Guyana right now, what is the feeling like for people of every single community out there? I know you're in Zeeburg most likely, or in the surrounding areas. What is the feeling like in Guyana right now?
Right now in Guyana, I think it's a very somber feelings where everybody is at a point where they don't even want to talk about it, especially if they would have been privy to seeing how some of the bodies actually look. And when they would have heard the stories of the persons who are survivors, nobody wants to even carry on a conversation literally about it much. And it's not going to help any one of the families either carrying on certain conversation with them about it, because they're at a stage where they just want people around them. So for me, in Guyana right now, what you can do for them is what I realized that Dr. Dr. Tara Singh just said, that the government is providing them with meals, transportation. I didn't get the last thing he said. What was the
Funeral,
other thing?
funeral
Funeral
expense.
expenses. So in my true understanding, that is what the PPP is doing, and it means they're offering some bit of pocket and proportional support to them. But they need a lot of prayer support. And the reflection that they had for them, it might have been really more if they could have had one close to where the bulk of the persons came from. That might be some consolence too, because they really do need a lot of prayers, and they will need a lot of psychological help, you
Yeah,
know. So because these people are traumatized, and
yeah,
they will need a lot of psychological help. A young child, reliving what she would have encountered to save another one who's older than her, but young too.
yes.
That is
Hmm.
going to boggle her mind for a while. It is going to be mind boggling. And the
mm,
ones who are trying to hold on to loved one and they, force the water and other things in the way, manage to sweep them out of their hand, they too will have some nightmares. So they will need a lot of counseling. They need embrace. So they need persons to rally around them, not just for this period, but long after,
mm.
very long after. So they
Yeah,
should be more on like counseling stretch for a
that
while.
that
Agreed.
is what the Minister of Social Security said. As long as is needed, they will provide it.
It is a long
They have
road.
also hired some psychologists to help with the counseling. Um, I think we have our guest here, Dr. Vishnu Bisram. Um, the the point is made, and I know people are going into the cause, the likely cause, etc., suggesting everything. Um, but like the vessel was overloaded, but the director of MARAD said it was not overloaded, and even people are asked how you weigh. That is not relevant because in any boat they got a line on the side where if it goes beyond the line, it means it's overloaded. If it's above that, you're okay. So that's essentially his point. Anyhow, the vessel was licensed to carry 386 people, I think, and they had 179, and the cargo manifest was was below that, and it was above the line. So I don't think I think people are speculating, and they're saying that the vessel was unseaworthy. But those are things we got to wait to get technical opinion on. I can understand people are very emotional, and people, you might be emotional outbursts and say things that are not necessarily rational or objective. So when the technical people get and the commission of inquiry, all these things will become clear. And I, for one, I will not make any. I traveled in that vessel a couple of years ago, and I can tell you, when you go a certain part of the Atlantic, it's not easy. That wave, very ferocious. We were all sleeping in the lower deck, and the wave came splashing, cover all of us. We had to jump up from our sleep. Some of us were sleeping in cots, some in sleeping bags. It's really rough. And I was told by people there, I heard, not told, sorry, that waves was the main reason, but I don't know. Now we have Dr. Vish. Welcome. I know you seem to be late always, man. Anyhow, the more recent count is that of the 179 people, passengers, 72 uncrewed, 72 were recovered, and 77 survived. So they still have 30 missing. Now, we've been talking about the need for prayers in this time, and Shamiza was mentioning how there are lots of conflicting information and etc. And for instance, people have suggested that if the two helicopters at GDF were functional, that might have made a difference. I don't know if that will make a difference, but you know, but they had a lot of help from the private sector. Right now, today, as they were recovering people, they had three aircraft there plus numerous ships. And just, I don't want this point to slip me, but in the effort was not only by government, private sector, people like Exxon, all them participated. The fisher folk did a tremendous job. Um, they rescued over 11 people or even more. And then you have other so ordinary people who had boats will go out and sort. So everybody made their contribution. And this guy, the leader of the opposition, Mr. Azudin, was down there too. He was helping to identify people. So all these people, we need to thank them very much for the sacrifice that they made. So the collective effort was there, even though people are still criticizing the rescue and recovery efforts. But no matter what you do in this world, you can't please everybody. People will criticize. You make your best effort. You got to expect that, and especially in this time when people are highly charged emotionally. Anyhow, Dr. Vish, welcome.
Thank you.
And we have our guest here, the headmaster from Zeeborg, headmistress, sorry, from Zeeborg High School, Miss Deborah. And so you want to make your
Well,
comments now?
the headmistress is right. The immediate task at hand is to address the needs of the survivors and their families, and so psychological guidance and whatever other um, assistance they need, they should be the one at the moment. And
Hmm.
the it's now search and recovery, not rescue anymore. But you don't give up on life.
Hmm.
Maybe there may still be some people floating, hopefully, and that they can be rescued. It is a huge, huge loss. I mean, it's one of the largest natural disasters. uh, and in fact, I think it is the largest natural disaster or man-made disaster.
Well,
If you want to say that.
well, you can say that, but Freddie Kissoon made a point that one of the biggest tragedy in Guyana was really the Jonestown, where over 900 people were killed or committed suicide. Although they were not Guyanese, it still happened in Guyanese territory and with the knowledge of the Guyanese authorities. You know, um, and then you had the Son Chapman tragedy, where over 40 something people were killed. So these things bring back into our focus these tragedies.
And I think the important thing now would be for the government after these funerals and rites and so forth would be a commission of inquiry. There should be an official commission of inquiry of
There will be.
of
Hmm.
what we need foreign expertise for this. I don't think we have the capacity and capability to carry out such.
Hmm.
And even if we do in Guyana, there will always be claims and counterclaims of cover up and so forth. So it's
Yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll have you
And
can't avoid that. That's that's politics, Okay, Shamisa, you have
Um, Dr. Tara, um, we've learned, I think, looking at the last few days of events taking place in Ghana, we here in the US, Canada, yeah, the UK, and many other parts of the world, we can only know what's going on from social media, and we've seen a lot. um I'm sure what I'm seeing, you might not have seen exactly the same, but you've seen a lot of what is happening there. There's a lot of rescue. However, it's our people, right? So you can't help but see all the TikTok posts, Facebook posts about what has been happening, and there has been a lot of things that has not been in favor of the government of Guyana. We've seen videos of the opposition leader, as you rightly said, Dr. Tara, out there on the water. And that has gained a lot of people, speculating and having their own opinions on things. What do you think, Tara, Dr. Tara, the government can do differently moving forward, to, make these things a little less of what it is right now? Do you think
well,
anything could have been done differently?
I well, one thing I would have liked, like how the opposition leader was going out there and try to identify people, and he got a camera crew with him, the Coast Guard and the GDF, whoever went out there, they should have people from NCN with similar cameras to take out pictures so they can give an update as well as Miss Azradine was doing. That would have been very helpful, and because it gives you the impression that the government was not doing anything, only the opposition, when in fact that was not the case. It's just that we didn't get the information
Well,
instantly.
we live in a world of social media, so people tend to go off of what they can see, like all of us do here, right? That's our only or our main
Mm,
source of knowing things that's happening. So that's they're relying on that source
yeah,
of information, Dr. Tara, and that's what they
yeah.
see, right? And you rightfully said, right, he is out there. I think at this point, acknowledgement of his work and many other, there's so many fishermen that are on the water there that are doing an amazing job looking for bodies, finding them, and calling the Coast Guard to come and get those bodies. And
Yeah.
I think acknowledgement of those people is important because this is not our first and definitely not
Mm,
our last tragedy in Guyana. And we need to recognize people and acknowledge them when they're doing a good job.
mm. Yeah, it's amazing. These fishermen know that the ocean, a large stretch of ocean by the name, and they
Mhm.
were the ones who identified the sunken ship where it was located. But anyhow, we have to go to our break now, and then we'll come back.
Okay, we will take a break and we'll be right back. We are
Uh,
back. Dr. Tara, please go
yeah,
ahead.
there was some suggestion by somebody that they asked the question, where is CARICOM? Well, CARICOM is helping, Trinidad send down divers, and even our neighbor Brazil's have a diving team there. And from French Guyana, we have a huge team of divers, and they'll be responsible for salvaging that wreckage below. So I think that people are making all kinds of statements and without thinking, and and the government and people of Ghana have been getting messages all over the world. The most recent being from King Charles today, where they got a message from him and from CARICOM leaders, Miss Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, etc. So CARICOM is there, it's supporting, and I'm sure whatever help Guyana would have needed, they would have indicated. But I think the diving, the diving people was what is more important right now because they have to get that vessel higher up so they can extract the remaining people here.
Thank you,
And,
Dr. Tara. Headmistress Deborah, have you traveled on this vessel or any other vessels in that area in the past?
Yes, I did. I did travel on that vessel, and
And
it
what
was a
was it like?
horrible ordeal. It was
Was
a
that
horrible ordeal.
recently?
I literally vomited my stomach out. It was a soldier guy on the boat that actually assisted me with a bag so that I could have put my face into it and, get some relief. And then he gave me some tablets that I can, feel like a human being. All kinds of odors and everything was a mixed up mood and attitude on the boat. Yes, it was a horrible ordeal. But then the reason for the trip was something that we were looking forward to. So that was the motivation to continue. But
Mm.
trust me, it was not easy.
And
I
how long ago was this?
This was years ago, a few years well ago. I can't remember exactly which year it was, but it was a group of teachers that went on a voyage.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes, so we were on that boat. Yes.
the
Really,
And
nothing
I,
has changed.
that
if I can
I don't-
ask,
was that your experience that the boat was shaking a lot too? Because when we went, it
it
was
was
moving
when the rapid
up,
when the rapid hit
shake.
that boat, it really tossed it around. It really did toss it around.
Mm.
It really did.
And that would have been a particular area.
Uh,
But we
um,
went all the way. We went all the way to Mabaruma area there. So, it was,
I,
I can't precisely say which area that was most rough or anything.
Dr. Bisram, if you're asking, I think the boat leaves Georgetown and it takes, I believe I saw it takes about 25 or 27 hours. Sometimes it can take like 31 hours if depending on the tide and all that. But with normal, it takes about 25 to 27 hours to get to region one. So imagine
Yes,
being on a boat for 20 something hours in the conditions that Headmistress Deborah just explained to us. And many others have spoken about the conditions. Now, Dr. Tara, I know we talked a little bit about a lot of the people are, traders. They take stuff from Georgetown to the region one. I also have statements from others that says that it was a time that kids were coming out to buy, like parents were bringing them out because it's the school holiday. They were coming out to get
mm,
their school supplies and just come to visit Georgetown during this time. And so that is why we see a lot of children being on the boat when this tragedy happened. And it is a very, very sad situation to see this, right? And coming out to get your school supplies should never be an experience like this.
mm,
I hope with what we've seen and what we've learning from this is that we can make adjustments going forward to not only correct these things but put better things in place, so
mm,
people of Guyana can have some sort of comfort when traveling on a 27-hour vessel, and at the same time, like I said, there's a lot of reports. I see of a vessel in Trinidad just yesterday that they do trips, on the water. And I haven't seen anything like that here in the US. If Trinidad have these types of boats, maybe it's time for us to invest in boats. I'm not saying get one exactly like what they have, but we should have better things. It's an 80 something year old vessel.
in
There,
in in the
there.
Caribbean recently, there
Mhm.
is a vessel travel between the islands, Eastern Caribbean, that was sinking, but they managed to save everybody. So it's happened as somebody point out. The Titanic was the biggest and newest ship in the world. Who knows that it was sunk, hitting an iceberg? So,
We can't
and
avoid these things, Dr.
I,
Tara.
and I can tell you that heavy waves can sink that ship. I worried when I traveled with that. I really thought that we would end in trouble when we went here. Anyhow, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Your
Accidents will happen, Dr. Tara. I don't think a lot of people are upset because a tragedy occurred. I think a lot of people are upset because of the circumstances that was around the situation, the conditions that these people were traveling.
Mm.
And of course, there are the additional rumors about the boat being overload. It had too much cargo on it. Many people have given account that they couldn't save their children because there were boxes falling on them. And not one, several people have said that they try to save their children, but there were so many boxes already on the children. And there are also rumors that the staff, right, the crew was intoxicated, not on they were tested, and alcohol and marijuana, they were positive for both of those. So these are all things, when you have 100 and something people on board and you're responsible for them, the least that you can do is be responsible yourself. And I think these are the things that are upsetting people right now. It's not the fact that there was an accident that
Definitely.
happened, it's the conditions that these people were traveling in.
Mm. They, a boat was specially bought for this purpose, but they couldn't land there because this telling where they had the soil has shifted, but it took them a long time to get that fixed, or else the new boat would have taken the place of that. So it seems now that they will work on that to get it fixed. Over 2 years, they didn't fix it. I don't know the reason. They said the soil keep on shifting, but the technical people, engineers, have to look into that.
Is
Uh,
this the same boat, Dr. Tara, that we've seen being used for other purposes?
what? As now and then, if they use for other trips, or
Okay. Headmistress Deborah, how do you think we can move forward? We spoke about, we definitely need help for those families in terms of counseling and stuff, but in terms of infrastructure and holding the crew and future crew accountable for their actions, what do you think we can do as a nation to correct these things and make it better for the future?
Okay, the first thing I would like to say is that age is not just a number. That's the first thing. Age is not just a number because as you grow older, you also lose ability to do a lot of stuff. And similarly, with a vessel that is old, it will lose its ability to function to the best of its capacity.
Of
So,
course.
yes, the boat was old and it should have been out of probably that zone, if not out of the water. It should have been out of that long voyage by now. That's what I'm thinking. So, a replacement, yes, that was the first thing. And the next thing, the persons who are being tested now, had there been had there been strategically planned tests for a period of time for these persons on board the ship, and like accountability and so on. They need to check these things on a regular basis. Checks and balance should be made before every voyage that that ship would make. That boat should be tested. You check to see all the ports are working, that nowhere is leaking. You check to see that they don't have alcohol, they don't have whatever in the system. And so because if they're using it all along, they will obviously use it. What can make them not use it when they are out there at sea? So if they're checking them when they're finished having an encounter, check them before so that you know that they would have went clean and that they came clean. So then after, yes, charge them. I don't have a problem with that. If they're going to do the wrong thing and cause disaster, yes. But then monitor it. Minimize the even tendency of it happening by checking prior to, and then you probably got some way of monitoring them while they're on the voyage. So there's
Agree.
two. And the next thing that I'm thinking can work, passengers need to be responsible for themselves. Adults can think. Children we can flex with. But adults need to think. If you're going to go on a boat, you have eyes. You have a brain that is weighing 3 pounds once fully developed. If you're seeing that they have so many things on this boat, why would you want to venture? I think it is stupid, and I would not have risked my life like that. And I think they're accountable for themselves. We understand that they have to make money and everything, but you have to be alive to make money. You can't make money when you're dead.
Right. The
Um,
the other
Go ahead,
thing is,
doctor.
let me just, what do you think? Let me ask you, headmistress, this. Um, if we travel, I was in Guyana a couple of months ago. I traveled from Parika to Bartica. As soon as we entered the boat, although there was a short distance, 2 hours, we had to wear another life jacket. Don't you
That's
think
right.
that don't you think when people board these boats, especially the adults, they should always have on their life jacket? I think
Definitely they should.
if they had that, many of them would have saved.
Mhm.
Uh,
I think it's come to a point of being mature. People think that when they know they can swim, so to speak, why should I put on a life jacket? You're gonna show off your swimming skills. Well, I'm sorry. Swimming skills don't always work for everybody. The best swimmers can die,
You're right,
right? And I guess some of them would have proven that
right,
no,
right.
but
Mm,
it's not what we wanted. But then there should have been some accountability with terms and names. If they're going to show an ID card, the ID card should have been like how we have voting, and so we have these ID cards, that they would
mm,
take them or they photocopy or something, and then give the list with the manifest should carry a picture of each person on board that boat, and so you know that after a point, anybody else would have been a pope you
mhm.
know so there would have been more monitoring in place,
Right,
so you
right.
can't rule out what people are saying about overweight. It might sound bad, but then we got to take check of ourselves, see where we err, and pick it up from there and get it right.
Mm,
Nobody is perfect. We're not
right.
saying that these passengers were all right and that the situation was not the worst or whatever. But when something happened is when things go bad. If it was a safe trip, nobody would have complained. But yes,
Right,
there
right.
was a disaster, and it is somewhat the biggest that I can recall because yes, Americans in the country and they get killed. That's America's big interest. But then when Guyanese are killed, I'm a Guyanese, and I'm first going to say Guyanese shouldn't lose their lives in that amount. You know,
Agree.
Mm,
I want
right.
to add to that too, Dr. Tara. When we travel, you travel a lot. I travel. Dr. Bisram travel. We put our trust in a pilot, right? 100 and something passengers are on a plane. But when we get on that plane, there's safety instructions every single flight. I have not been on a flight where safety instructions was not given to
Mhm,
us, right? So I think similarly, we're putting our trust in a someone and the crew, right? That what is it called? That is taking this journey with us, and we're putting our trust in that person. And so I think it's equally as important, just the way pilots have that responsibility to fly that aircraft, just the same way we should have that same accountability when we have the what is it called that
mhm,
drives the boat, right? We should have that. A captain
mhm,
should have that same accountability and should hold himself accountable for 100 and something 200 people at a time, right? So yes, as human beings, we should be alert. We should know if we're taking our
mhm.
families on a vessel to have certain precautions, but we are hoping the people responsible for the boat, the crew, is doing their job as well.
Okay, Vish,
Yeah,
Doctor.
it is against rules, regulation, and the law for the captain and the crew to consume alcohol or to smoke pot on a ship. It is against the law, and that is why they're being charged. But we don't know if that's the reason why the ship
Right.
capsized. Now, the headmistress is right. They should be going forward. There should be random tests, random visits of the ship, random visits of the THD department, Transport and Harbor Department, to to do a spot check on whether rules are being followed. But we can't blame the passengers for venturing out. I mean, they have no way of knowing whether a ship is overloaded or whether the captain has been smoking weed or drinking. Those things are very, very difficult. And when you were going on a 27 hours journey, it's almost impossible to put on a life jacket in a ferry. Usually, in a ferry, people are not mandated to have on the life jacket, but
Why?
they're informed where the life jacket is in the event of an emergency. It so happened that this emergency happened within seconds in which the ship listed and capsized. So it was almost impossible for people to grab on a life jacket.
Yeah.
And in retrospect,
Wha-
perhaps that might
why do you think a life jacket is burdensome to you? A life jacket is very, very light.
yeah
Definitely.
yeah. So it's
Definitely.
So
going from that.
I don't see that as a problem to wear. I mean, I wear it when it came off. Sure, I had it on when it joined back to come back the other way there about 4 or 5 hours,
Yeah.
and I
When
didn't feel on.
I,
If I know my life depends on that, I will grab it, hold on to it.
yeah, it is my
Definitely.
speedboats, and I did put it on when I was in the speedboat,
Mm.
but I must confess I didn't do it when I was on the
But
large. That
I I have a broad suggestion to make, and that is the government should appoint an officer known as the Inspector General, and their job is to visit regularly each government agencies, including transport harbors, corporations, etc., to see that standard operating procedures are complied with, to see that protocols, rules, regulations,
Mhm.
accounting, every aspect of government, and they have immediate executive authority where they can refer you for criminal or negligence, etc. The Auditor General will audit you after you commit act for several months after or years, but the Inspector General will go there on the spot every day and random checks when you least expect, and they will check these things, and that will curb not only the trouble of traveling in boats, but all other government agencies where there is corruption and malpractice or people flouting the laws. That will help tremendously.
I think also the passengers, after they have undergone a trip, and if they see that they should not have people smoking or drinking, they should inform the authority so and so happened on their journey. This way, we can hold captains or TAT or whoever account. There must be some accountability and otherwise there to be a continuous thing.
Um, Dr.
Yeah.
Tara,
Mhm.
I know the PPP government has been very focused on infrastructure in Guyana, or roadways, bridges and all that. Do you think it's time for us to take a little look at our maritime, maybe these vessels? This is one that we see a tragedy, but we don't know what else is going on in the other vessels on the water. Do you think it's time for us to invest a little bit into that and maybe look at because a lot of Guyana is what, 75% water, right? We're a
Yeah.
land of many water. We have a lot of water, so we need a lot of boats. Do
Well,
you feel that we should, re-examine and maybe take a look at these vessels and
yeah,
how
yeah.
we?
Yeah, I believe they should look at it, but you got to view that against the type of terrain that we have to, because right now they are building 36 new airports in different areas. So the people who can afford, there are certain areas you can't reach by river, so you got to fly, and they're modernizing these airports, which is one good thing to make flying more safe. Um, in terms of maritime transport, they have MARAD should work on that, and they can probably develop a water transport system. A water transport system, however, cannot stand by itself. You got to work in combination with a national transport system, oiling roads, bridges, water, and air transport to get it in one plan. But you can't do thing hodgepodge here and there disjointed. You got to do it as an integrated plan if you're talking about a modern economy and moving forward.
Dr. Tara, I lived on the island of Wakenham for over 10 years, and our source of transportation to civilization, which is, West Coast and Georgetown, was by boat. And I can tell you it was not an easy. Back then, it was the Malali that we used. Um, but this is how many people in Guyana, they depend on these things. This is how they make their living. And I think we need to take some time to re-examine and because this is what the people of Guyana need, not our foreigners. I have no problem with investing in that, in planes and all that. But how about our local people? These are the people
Mm.
that are the voters, right? These are the people that are Guyanese. They are the ones who make the country, right? So I think it's time for us to maybe shift our focus a little bit
Yeah, well,
and really provide for the people of Guyana.
yeah, the government can probably do feasibility studies because right now, Leguana Week, I think they are planning to bridge them. I don't know if that will materialize. At one time, they were saying to take the whatever remain of the old Demerara Bridge to use a part there. I don't know whether that will come to fruition. But traveling from Leguan or Wikanam to Parika in those boats, a rough ride as well too, the small
Oh,
boats.
yes, it is.
And I traveled 1 or 2 times, but I will never travel back again. Last time I went there, I made sure to get a big steamer. So
But this is that's every day for many people in
yeah,
those parts of Guyana,
yeah,
Dr.
yeah,
Tara. And
yeah.
so,
I guess they get accustomed to it, but
And it's
I
cost.
I can swim, but I will not get accustomed to that.
all right, Dr. Tara, I think it's time for us to wrap up our program for tonight. I will go around and ask each of you for your closing remarks about the situation at hand and how we can move forward from this.
Let's go to the head mistress first. She has a lot of ideas. Mom, go ahead.
Okay, so we would have mentioned three ways just now, and I'm thinking that the fourth way that we can move forward is by persons asking Guyanese what best suits them towards sometimes. Ask questions so you get just how they have consultation when they're going to do something. Ask, make a concerned effort to get to Guyanese in areas like those where they have to use boats and so on. What best would suit them sometimes? Have their say on it so that when they help to say, they will be the ones who you can say to them, okay, this is what we did. We asked you what would have served you best, and you asked for this, so we are going to try to give you this. All of them may not need boats. Some of them may better want the planes, but then the boat is just something that has been the primitive way of reaching to some of these areas. Like Miss Shamisa would have said, Miss Ali said that. And so when you ask them, some will still want the boats to remain, some will want more developed airstrips and so on. But then give them a choice, not just one means of getting it done, because it's very costly. So if you give them that option, they might say to you, well, if they can have a plane every 3 times a week instead of just once a week or so, that might be a way out. They wouldn't have to be going that way all the time.
Mhm.
Let me commend both the government, everyone in the opposition, for their really really amazing effort trying to do and in efforts. In particular, I would tend to be hero
You
save.
break it up, Dr. Vishnu.
Yeah. In particular, I'd like to thank who rescued and saved lives. Harish Singh in particular singled out, and government should go out and give out honors and awards to these heroes for their strenuous and courageous efforts, putting their lives at risk. Let me remind the public that there is going to be tomorrow night, evening, from 6 to 8, there is going to be a prayer vigil by the Guyana Consulate in Manhattan, and everyone is invited to partake, participate, attend. And um, let's hope that there are still people alive and that we will be able to rescue them. Thank
Dr.
Mm.
Tara?
Yeah. To add that, there's another vigil organized by Mr. Bork and others in Brooklyn tomorrow, so people can attend that as well. And there is a vigil in Madhya, I think, tonight, and another one in another in
you.
Region One. I can't remember the exact spot, but I I just want to say that this is a very very sad moment in Guyana history, and I think that eventually, if the government does the right thing, if the people cooperate, we can come out of this in better shape, far better shape than we are now. And I think that in my analysis of the sentiments expressed by people clearly indicate highly emotive, which can be not necessarily helpful, but I can understand that. But we got to be careful. And my own position is I will not judge something unless I have the credible evidence or the facts, and then I will try to make a judgment. Otherwise, to that, I'll wait until the technical people can provide the reasons. In this case, they may advise a commission of inquiry, and I would suggest that people wait until that to make any kind of strong statement, um, because right now it's not helpful. Right now, when I read Facebook, I don't know what to accept, what not to accept. I don't know who's speaking the truth or who's a lie. And that's why whenever I visit Guyana not like Dr. Vishnu, he visits every other month, but I visit at least 3, 4 times a year. And I visit actual projects, I visit places, I talk to people, I keep meetings. I want to get information for myself to form my own opinion. And but I'm confident that the authorities will work to resolve this matter and bring not I wouldn't say closure to the family. It's hard to say that, but they got to spend, and I'm confident too, the government will keep the families as top priority, irrespective of what else the government is doing. Now, some people are saying the government should come to a stop and focus on they can't. The government got to run a country. So while that is not possible, so but I will say that these victims and the affected family, not only the families who are affected, but the extended family too, might suffer trauma as a result of this. So we need to extend psychosocial counseling to them as well. And as I said, that the most we can do is this stage for the family, render support through prayers, etc. I know one body suggests about a fundraiser, but I said that's not needed because the government will take care of them. I know they have to. They have no choice, and I know how they will do it. So our prayers, our condolence, our love goes out to all the family, and I want to share Dr. Vishnu, especially the Fisher folks, who played an enormous part in this effort. And I do hope that the government can recognize those people who played significant part in trying to rescue, recover people. So that's all I have to say, and hope that they can recover the remaining 30 bodies as soon as possible.
Thank you,
That's it.
Dr. Tara. So tonight was not about blaming. It is about honoring the lives that we have lost by asking difficult questions, listening to one another, and identifying meaningful changes that can help ensure no family has to endure a tragedy like this again. If we can save even one life through the lessons learned today, then this conversation will have served an important purpose. Dr. Tara, I think as much as we've reflected on this program tonight, it is time for changes. People need to be held accountable for their actions. And I hope in the coming weeks ahead and months ahead, once a full investigation, I will prefer to have a private investigation being done as well, uh, which I feel is completely necessary. I hope that we can make the necessary changes to move forward and never, ever have to repeat a tragedy like this again. To the families that are mourning right now, our prayers and thoughts are with you. And we want to let you know that you're not alone in this. We're all here for you.
I just want to make a point, Shamiz.
Mhm.
There's a note here from Mr. Sheikh Ibrahim saying that the MV
Alicia?
Lisha, LISHA,
Mhm.
that was in Guyana, new ship came 2020. And there's another one called MV Calliope N, which entered Guyana in 2026. So they do have these two new vessels, but I don't know how they're deployed. So that's something I can look into.
Well, let's hope that if those were you brought there for that purpose, they're used, but there are strict things in place that the crew will follow and we can move on. All right, I want to take this opportunity to thank the headmistress of Zeeburg Secondary School for a very short notice to take the time to be here on the program on this
Yeah.
panel this evening. Thank you so much for doing this for us. Dr. Tara, thank you.
Thank
And Dr. Vishnu Visram, thank you for being here this evening. To all of our viewers, thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. Until next time, I am your host, Shamiza Ali, and this is the Guyana Dialogue. Good evening,
thank you.
everyone.
Thank you,